My travel bucket list: driving back to Alaska via the ALCAN Highway. The Alaska Highway, also known as the ALCAN Highway, takes you from Dawson Creek, British Columbia, Canada, to Delta Junction, Alaska, with lots of small towns along the way. It is a legendary road trip route that was built during World War II as a military supply route and has since become a scenic adventure for travelers heading north. I hope to one day be one of those adventurers. Even though I have lived in Alaska twice on two separate occasions, my travel bucket list is to drive the ALCAN Highway before my time is up. I would probably start out in my home state of Idaho in the southeast corner, adding another 1,173 miles and 18 and a half hours to get to the starting point. From there, it has an approximate length of 1,390 miles or 2,237 kilometers, ending, as I said, in Delta Junction, Alaska. It is a fully paved road, but has occasional rough patches, as with any road in North America, and likewise will probably run into construction zones along the way. Now, planning my route to Dawson Creek, British Columbia, depends on where you're starting from in the US or Canada. You'll first need to reach Dawson Creek, British Columbia, the official start of the Alaska Highway. The map attached shows starting out at Bonners Ferry in northern Idaho, not far from the Canadian border. But since I've lived in Idaho most of my life, I would probably be leaving from southeast Idaho, as I said, and probably head north on I-15. If on a clear day, look east and you can possibly see the Grand Teton Mountains. They are unmistakable. Take the Highway 33 exit and head west through Territon and Mud Lake. Turn north on Highway 28 that takes you by the ghost town of Gilmore, through the towns of Lador, Lemhi, Tendoy, Baker, and Salmon, then north on Highway 93, which parallels the Salmon River. This road takes you over a mountain pass and is best driven in the summer because in the winter it can get quite a lot of snow, and sometimes it is closed. So check it before you leave if you are driving in the winter. I have driven this road many times and I prefer it to I-15 north through Montana, even though it would definitely be quicker. If you are like me and like the more scenic route and have the time, I would drive this way. This route is much prettier if you like to see very tall, possibly still snow-covered mountains. At the top of the first pass, at the Montana-Idaho border, is a rest stop and a ski resort called Lost Trail Powder Mountain. I've stopped at that rest stop many times, but have not skied there. There are several passes to drive over, and you will see if you want to stop the Lolo Trail Hot Springs and camp at Indian Trees Campground. Or further on, after passing Sulu, Montana, there's another hot springs called Medicine and another campground, Warm Springs, though I've not stopped at any of these places. South of Darby, Montana, there is a West Fork Road, which will take you to the Nez Perce Road and all the way into Dixie, Idaho, where my parents had a cabin from 1973 until they moved back to Alaska in 1997. This is another travel bucket list item, but the only time you can drive it is the month of August. So the rest of the year it is closed due to snow. Continuing on up Highway 93, you will pass through Hamilton and Victor and eventually Lolo. There head west on Highway 12, and if you want to take another rest stop, there is a huge hot springs resort called Lolo. Great place to stop and rest and eat. Stay on Highway 12 until you get to Lewiston, Idaho, where I grew up. There are lots of places to stop along the way before getting to Lewiston, such as to see the Dorshak Dam in Osaka. If you wish to stop, you will have to cross the bridge over the Clearwater River at the town of Orfino, turn left, and follow the road till you get to Osaka and the bridge there. At that bridge, you can take pictures of the dam like the two you see in this video. From Lewiston, I'd head north on Highway 95 that takes you through a lot of small towns through Coeur d'Alene, by Silverwood Theme Park just north of Athol, Sandpoint where it stays Highway 95 but is also called Highway 2, on up to Bonners Ferry, passing lots of small and large lakes. North of Bonner's Ferry, stay on Highway 95 Northwest, and it turns into Highway 93 in Canada, where it takes you to Castle Junction. Turn north onto Canada 1, also called Icefields Parkway, until you reach Dawson Creek, passing lots of places to stop, as well as lakes, rivers, and campgrounds. If you are in the Seattle area, take I-5 north to BC 97 via Vancouver and head northeast to Dawson Creek. If you already live in Canada, from Calgary, drive northwest via AB 43 toward Grand Prairie, then connect to Dawson Creek. Some major stops along the ALCAN Highway. If I ever make it on this travel bucket list, looking at Google Maps, these are some of the places I'd stop. Dawson Creek, British Columbia, which is mile marker 0, to snap a photo and stock up on supplies, because by then I'm sure I'll need some. Fort Nelson, British Columbia is another good place to fuel up and visit the Fort Nelson Heritage Museum while you're there. Muncho Lake Provincial Park has gorgeous jade green waters, mountains, and is a great place for camping and wildlife viewing. Liard River Hot Springs, British Columbia, is a natural hot springs, perfect for a relaxing soak after a long drive. At Watson Lake, Yukon Territory, make sure to visit the Sign Forest, which has a quirky collection of over 100,000 signs from around the world. Whitehorse, Yukon Territory, is the capital and is another great place for restocking supplies, dining, and even staying overnight. Tok, Alaska, is the first major town in Alaska, and from there head west toward Fairbanks or south to Anchorage, depending on your route you want to go. And last but certainly not least is Delta Junction, Alaska. After having driven 1,390 miles, it is the official end of the Alaska Highway. There's a monument marking the terminus. This is my list of what I'd pack for my trip if I was driving a regular vehicle. Passport, because you'll pass through Canada. Vehicle insurance and registration, including Canadian coverage, food, water, and a cooler. Gas can, as some stretches are remote. Emergency kit, which includes tire chains, tools, flashlight, and a blanket. Paper maps and or GPS because cell service is spotty. Binoculars and camera to see and take pictures of the many different wildlife sightings, which are common. There are a lot of wildlife along the route to watch out for, like moose, bison, bears, mountain lions, cougars, foxes, wolves, coyotes, antelope, deer, and elk. Here are some safety driving tips. Don't drive tired. Distances are long and help can be far away. Fuel up whenever you can. Gas stations can be 100 plus miles apart. Summer is the best time to go, which would be May through September. And winter travel can be treacherous. Lodging and camping. There are many options, and they range from motels and roadside lodges to full-service RV parks and rustic campgrounds. Many reservations in peak season when possible, especially around popular stops like Whitehorse and Liard Hot Springs. My final thoughts. The Alaska Highway is more than just a route. It's a rite of passage for road trip lovers with stunning scenery, remote wilderness, and a sense of adventure around every bend. The ALCAN Highway is your scenic gateway to the last frontier. I'm not sure yet if I'd go all the way to Delta Junction, though I've not been there. There are other places I want to see and make my way back to, and I can't wait to go on this trip. What about you? Pictures were taken by myself, my father, and my great-uncle, who lived in Alaska from 1954 to 1965 as a teacher and principal, and I've written about him in my book, Life in Alaska. The pictures are of Idaho, Grand Teton, sunsets in Idaho, Montana, Alaska, wildlife, mountains, rivers, oceans, lakes, and myself and my brothers, young children in Alaska, and my family in Idaho when we first moved there in 1965 from Colorado.